Welcome back, sparklers. Welcome back, sparklers. Yes, I am human. To another episode of Ignite Your Spark. I'm your host, Kim Duff Selby. And boy, oh boy, you know I love colors and vibrancy. And I'm so excited to introduce you to my guest today, Heather Eck. I'm going to read a little bit about her. And this is going to be fun because I've never interviewed anyone quite like her. So here's my little part I'm going to read. Heather Eck is a multimedia abstract artist and writer, an intuitive artist and painter. She interprets people, places, and experiences through color and symbol because she has a condition known as the synesthesia. I said it a million times before. Anyway, I'm excited to learn about this. And I love this description. Like an enormous box of crayons, her gift operates by categorizing through intricate but specific shades of color. While this condition enables her to experience color, she responds to these encounters with people, things, emotions, and spaces by understanding the particular shade of experience that a person dwells in. That is so cool. She uses her gift to detect the most healing color for them to remedy their wounds. So it's guided by the chakra system and inspired by spirituality and the mysteries of the universe. This is so awesome, Heather. Heather transforms these vibrant energies into captivating paintings. She does spirit portraits that uplift and inspire and ultimately heal. I'm all about the healing. Heather, thank you. I'm so delighted to have you here.
Well, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I had to put on a colorful shirt today. It
I
wasn't
love it.
because I always wear brights. So
Yeah, you look fabulous.
thank you. All right, Heather, you've listened, you know. How do you ignite your spark?
I ignite my spark by helping other people find their radiant spirit inside. It makes me so happy to tell people what color I see for them because I often get to see like a light bulb go off, and I know that then they're making inroads somewhere to find some healing or support for themselves. And I love that.
I mean, well, I love the fact that you get your spark ignited by helping others because that's just glorious. And I have so many questions about this because do you see a color for me?
I was looking at your color earlier. You have green around you, and it's kind of like an aqua green. So that tells me that you spend a lot of time in your heart and your throat, which basically that's a very divine feminine color. So that means that you spend a lot of time sort of in the heart space and in the throat space, finding ways to communicate this deep, deep love that you feel for not just other people, but also for yourself, this unconditional love that's sort of radiating around you.
Working on it always.
Yeah.
And is it when you determine someone's color, is it something that they should be incorporating into their lives via clothing or accessories? Oh, I have on turquoise earrings
Oh,
today.
yeah.
Yeah. And colors is that I have interviewed someone who does color therapy, but she did not have synesthesia. And that was 4 years ago. So it was totally different. Is that what you encourage people to do when you see their color?
I do. Yeah, there's lots of different ways to work with color. When I see somebody's color, that sort of shows me where they might be experiencing pain or a wound, or there was trauma there, or they're just working on developing like a stronger sense of themselves through that color. But
Hmm.
oftentimes I'll tell them like a prescriptive color to wear that will help support them even more. So if I see that somebody's sort of dwelling in a grief space and the color that I see for them is sort of like a blue or gray, then I might say, let's try some orange. Let's incorporate some orange in your life because it's really energizing and uplifting. And they can use that color in their clothes or in the food that they eat, or just putting that color around them, or even what I really like now is teaching people how to meditate with a color so that they can sort of sit in this effervescent shade that will help uplift them too.
Oh, like I said, I have a million questions, and this isn't exactly where I was going to start. But when we're talking about the chakra system, so that's interesting because I am aware of the chakra system. I know the colors associated with it. So apparently, this means that if I needed more grounding and my root chakra color is red, would it be beneficial then to wear red or eat red foods?
Yes, for sure. So if your root is out of balance, it might show up to me as like a lighter red or a darker, murkier red. So it'll kind of show me whether it's in or out of balance. And then, to bring it back into balance or to restore it, you'd want to have that like bright, vibrant fire
Mm,
engine red that's going to help you go there. But then the prescriptive color might also be white, which will help you feel connected to your spirit and
mm.
sort of balance the physical body and the spiritual self there too.
Okay, I'm going to start where I had originally thought I would start, and that's like you as a little kid. I mean, I want to know. So you're in kindergarten or you're younger and you're seeing colors. I mean, did you start seeing colors as a young child like this? Like you associate from, I looked up the meaning of synesthesia and
Mhm.
it didn't say it was a gift, but I'm looking at it as a gift because I know it could be annoying to some people if they're not able to utilize their gift. And that when you hear music, this is maybe not you, but music, you automatically see colors.
Yeah.
And how did you first discover your gift, as it were, of synesthesia?
So I didn't know what it was called. And I think I just assumed that everybody experienced, you know, sound or taste or color or whatever it was the same way that I did. But I specifically remember being super interested in color as a little kid, to the degree that I wanted to change my room all the time. I'd want to go from black and white to bright and colorful to now I want purple. Now I would drive my parents crazy going, it's time to redo my room. And and I think honestly that was probably my spirit like noticing different energies or feeling sort of how I was feeling and wanting to sort of surround myself with the color that was going to be the most supportive for me or that was going to be ministering to me, but I didn't know what that was called at the time. I was just kind of like a weird little kid who was super into like unsolved mysteries and wanted to know more about the astrology and wanted to study the Bible. I was just super into things that like little kids were probably not into. And I think that just came naturally to me. But I would lay on my floor with a great big sketch pad and I would draw the music that I was listening to and kind of etch out what it looked like in my mind, which was sort of like a choreography of what the music was doing when I was listening to it.
So cool. I mean, I've done that, and I know that my kids at various points in their lives, it's a very wonderful way of expressing yourself artistically is listening to music and drawing what you hear. But yours was a different level of, you know, do you actually like see colors in your head when music is playing, or how did you begin to develop your psychic and intuitive abilities along with it?
Yeah, it was so that sort of interest in chakras and color and spirituality was always with me. I think it's been with me since I was little. I think I would kind of go through periods coming on and off the path of spirituality as we do,
Yeah.
growing up and getting into all sorts of things. And when I was a couple of years ago in my corporate job, I was in human resources for a long time, started to kind of feel the kind of tired that no amount of time off or sleep was going to be able to fix. I
Right.
had really lost my spark. I really didn't know what was going to get me back there. And I started working with a spiritual teacher, and we talked about what were you like as a kid? Because your gifts show up when you're young, right? So
I
that was a
know.
perfect
I agree.
question. They really
Yeah.
do. And then I noticed as I started to let art back into my life, because it was there when I was younger, that my gifts started to open a bit more. And when people would come into my office, I sort of became like the safe haven for the woo,
Yeah.
People would come in and talk to me about different things that they were experiencing. They would take crystals off of my desk and sit and chat about their dreams or whatever it was. And I started to see color billow out around their heads and their shoulders. And I was like, this is really weird. What is going on? And so it started to kind of take off from there. But it really wasn't until a year or two ago that I discovered the definition of synesthesia and then sort of said, okay, this has got to be what I'm experiencing because it just kind of perfectly defined my experience and what was sort of happening in my brain.
Well, what is the definition of a synesthesia that I did not give properly?
Oh,
So,
no, you're doing great. It's really about your senses getting crossed. So when
hmm.
you hear a word or you listen to music, your brain sort of processes it as a different sense. And so for me, it's often processed as a color, a shape, a form, or like movement in my mind.
Is this something anyone can actually develop? I mean, obviously, some people are born with this gift, but is it something we can develop?
I think that there are ways that we can cultivate it through like therapeutic art exercises and playing with your creativity because um I like to kind of help people look at how they're feeling or what's coming up for them through the processing of art. And so I'll say, what shape does that emotion look like? Or what color might that feel like for you? And so you can kind of get your brain to switch how you see or perceive something and create art with it that is telling you something about what's going on. That's fascinating to me.
The whole thing is fascinating to me. I actually, for a while, and it's funny, I don't do that now, but I used to have a color associated with every month. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's just
that's
like,
synesthesia.
yeah, I think I have a little bit of that. That's why I asked, because I mean, I literally have colors associated with the months. So
Yeah.
anyway, but you quit the corporate job when you realized that you could actually make a career out of your own unique way of creating art and helping people?
Yeah.
And you studied, did you become like an art therapist, or is there a color therapist? Is there something that you had to study in order to really unleash further the colors?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of the art that I make and a lot of what I do is self-taught, although I am a little bit of a certification junkie, so I've kind of taken a lot of classes
Uh,
in probably everything you can possibly imagine. But therapeutic art was one. So that has helped me be
mm,
able to offer therapeutic art exercises and workshops that aren't necessarily art therapy because that requires a great deal of
yeah.
schooling, but teaching me the same kinds of tools and techniques to be able to show people how to use art and color for healing.
Yeah, let's talk about the art and color for healing part of it, because I'm fascinated by healing and how we can heal our own bodies. And I know that we can. And
Mhm.
I know because I've been working on it very much, that a large part of it is due to our mindset.
Yeah.
And so if we've got the mindset, I believe, which you have to really believe, and how do we enhance that? How do we heal with color?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that we are constantly being communicated to with color. So, just in the same way you intentionally chose such a vibrant, bold shirt today, I think we subconsciously choose colors in our homes and in our wardrobes and in our offices that are communicating something to us.
Yeah.
And when we can learn how to read what it's saying, then we can use it to help us heal. So, for example, I was going through a period where I felt like I was in lack of everything was lack, no abundance. I was like, I'm just in a lull. I wore black for probably 2 weeks straight. And sometimes even I get in my own way and I'm like, what's going on here? And I looked at my laundry pile and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm wearing black. I'm in lack. Something's missing. I feel blocked. What is it? And so trying to kind of intentionally say, okay, what color is going to make me feel uplifted and make me feel inspired? And for me, I love anything that sparkles, number one. So sequins are always like a go-to.
Oh, me too. Give me all the bling.
Oh,
I'm a 13-year-old girl at heart. So yes.
same, same. I want big, bold sparkles. But I'll go to purple for me. So purple is what connects to my crown. That helps me feel like I'm in communion with God or source or higher power. And so I know when I can sort of pivot and elevate my energy with a color that's of a really high vibration or white, something that's going to make me feel better, then I can work with that color, meditate with it, eat it, or wear it and surround myself in the way that the energy is sort of ministering to what I need, which was to get out of the doldrums and move up into a higher place where I believe and feel like things are possible.
Mm. It's funny because I'm a fashionista too, worked in fashion for many years. And I worked in Manhattan in the 1980s, 100 years ago. And, in the magazine, Glamour magazine, everybody wore black.
Uh-huh.
Everybody. It was very chic. And I'd show up in this orange linen skirt and a white shirt. I mean, yes, I wore black and I still occasionally do wear black
Mhm.
because I like it,
Yeah.
but I've always been drawn to brighter colors. And when someone says, oh, so fashion, in terms of fashion, interesting because some people just don't know what colors look good on them or what, they should be buying. I say
Mhm.
wear what you love personally, but that's my own thing, when I'm too old. And does it, when someone has a favorite color, is that an indication of, and usually that color remains the same. Mine has changed from purple to pink to purple to pink to purple to pink. Those are my
You
favorite.
sound like me.
But
Yep.
I'm loving turquoise. It's funny you said that because I love turquoise too. But I wear a lot of pink now because with white hair, my hot pink, love it.
Pops.
So is that an indication of something they need to work on, or something that's positive, or both?
Yeah, that definitely is. When you're attracted to a color, it's because you're getting something that that color is offering you. So if you're attracted to that bright, like pink magenta,
Yeah.
you're looking for like life force energy. You're
Yeah.
looking for this vibrant, bold sort of, I call it like a life affirming color. It is both the red and the indigo together to create this sort of magenta fuchsia. That's one of my favorite colors too. So I totally, yep. I live for it. It's so fantastic. And it makes you feel, effervescent. It makes you feel like beautiful and vibrant. And so, yeah, you're looking for what that color is offering you too. So when I worked in Manhattan too for a number of years, and my closet was largely black for a long time too. And in Manhattan, you sort of want to blend in a little bit and kind of go with the flow and not, I didn't really want to stand out there. I just wanted to get off the bus and go to the office. So I wore a lot of black. And I was also sort of hiding a little bit. I was in that transition phase of trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up, and trying to figure out where I wanted to be in the world. And so I think that color was offering me protection. It was kind of keeping me safe. It was sort of helping me stay in the background a little bit. And so I was using that color a lot.
That's interesting. And I think anybody listening, if you think of someone who loves to wear black, I'm thinking of a couple of people, they like to stay hidden, or they're trying to hide a part of themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking a physical part, or it makes them feel safe. It's a safe, that's so interesting. Pink makes me feel safe.
It's a love color for sure. That pink is just like, come on, give me all you got.
All right. So colors. Every color has a vibration. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep.
And do certain colors heal certain parts of you? And when we're talking healing, are we talking physical, emotional, spiritual?
All of the above. Yeah.
So if you were to work with someone and they needed healing with, I don't know, their joints or their muscles, is it everybody different, or is there a specific color that works for a specific ailment?
Yeah, that's a great question. The colors are largely consistent for people across the board, depending on where that physical ailment or emotional ailment sort of um,
Uh-huh.
emanates from. So, for example, like the lower back is a root issue. So, if you have lower back pain, it's often connected to feeling a lack of support or feeling like you don't have the sense of stability that you're looking for. And so that's going to be red. And so that might indicate, if I see somebody who might have back pain, they might be in sort of a muddy root color because they're not necessarily feeling the strongest or the most secure financially or with their family or relationships or whatever that is. So the chakras, I always see the colors associated with the chakra system, and those chakras are associated with your physical, spiritual, emotional kind of ailments too.
Okay, so you see primarily or the chakra colors, not like you don't necessarily see, I don't know, magenta or something peach.
Yeah.
They're more the saturated colors, the orange, yellow, red, blue, green, right?
Yeah, I'll see the shade. So for peach, for example, that would be a sacral chakra color. So I might see somebody sort of feeling a lack of something with the sacral. It could be sexuality, it could be creativity, it could be that they had some sort of pain or trauma there. So that color would sort of show me where that where they dwell, where they sort of spend a lot of time. I'm doing this for the sacral is kind of like a
Yeah.
bowl.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you see someone, like, do you have to turn it off? Like, if you're in the grocery store, are you just seeing colors coming out of people?
No, not usually. So if I do a painting for somebody, like a spirit portrait, I will ask for their picture so I can really sit with their energy and meditate on it before I do their painting so that I can receive whatever messages or things that are coming through. But if it's just sort of out and about in the world, I'll kind of pay attention to it, but not necessarily to read somebody. I can kind of get like a quick impression on someone, but I try not to go in where I haven't been allowed.
Well, yeah, also you want to
Yeah.
get permission, but also that would be annoying. I mean, you couldn't live your life. You'd be like, oh, but I know, I've interviewed a lot of mediums and psychics and intuitives, and they do have to sort of shut it off
Yeah.
so that they're
Yeah.
not hearing other people's thoughts here, there, and everywhere. And it's the same with you with colors too.
Yeah.
Let Would you be able to just briefly, so if we talk about the colors of the chakras, maybe explain, let's go through the chakra system. I know you have this as a freebie on your website, which is great because I went through it and read it. But
Awesome.
just if we can just give people who may not know the colors associated with their chakras and maybe what they mean. Is there a meaning for each one? Because there's only 7. Well, there's a lot of chakras. But we
There are
don't
a lot.
necessarily have a color in the palm or feet chakras. I don't know if we do or don't, but
I think they sort of look a bit different. I feel like the chakras most closely aligned to the rainbow, really. So that's the easiest way for me to remember them, starting with the root chakra, which is at the base of your spine, and that's the color red. And we've talked a little bit about the root already, but that one's the one that really helps us feel grounded, stable, supported, and sort of helps us find balance with financial stability with our family, how we relate to people, and how we sort of see ourselves as part of a collective group of people too. And then you have your sacral chakra, which is sort of just below the belly button. That's the color orange. Your sacral is kind of like your sexy chakra. I sort of think of it as the place where you express yourself creatively, you express yourself sexually, you have relationships with people, and you sort of find like a place where you have a relationship with yourself too. And then your solar plexus chakra, which is yellow, that is just above your belly button below your heart. And that is really where you find a sense of identity, how you see yourself and how you want people to see you. That's sort of a place where you can express yourself, through sense of self-worth or how you want to show up in the world. And then you move up to the heart chakra. That's my favorite. The heart chakra is expressed by 2 colors. There's a green and there's a pink. So the green is really all about the self. That's like your self-love, your compassion, forgiveness, unconditional acceptance. And then the pink, which is the higher love, which is all about like the love that you receive from other people, the love you receive from the universe, and how we sort of collectively belong in this place of loving kindness and loving acceptance. You have your throat, which is, I see it as a light blue. The throat is the place where you express yourself. It's where you speak your truth. It's how you show up and hopefully in the most authentic way, but also how you receive truth and how you sort of take it in and process it. And then you have your third eye, another favorite. Your third eye is sort of like an indigo color, and that's your place of intuition, inspiration. It's how you sort of your like your sense of knowing, how you move through the world and you get these feelings where you're like, I just kind of feel like this, or you see things. And so I sort of see a lot through my third eye, especially with color for people too. And then you have your crown chakra, which is represented by white or violet. That's really your sense of connection to, we are all one. We're part of a collective. It's how we connect to our higher selves and a higher power. So all of those colors, they kind of come in and out of balance throughout our lives, throughout the day. And colors can change for people, but often that's what I'll see is what color is the most prominent for you. And that sort of shows me, where are you dwelling in your life right now? Do you live in a place of identity? Do you live in a place of truth? What's sort of happening for you? And that color helps me explain that.
Yeah, that makes sense because if you just had every single color in the universe, it just wouldn't, it would be too much. But this is a little more organized to have all the colors.
Yeah.
And you said that you had crystals, on your desk and people would come in because I know that crystals are associated, the colors. I was given a sodalite, this beautiful, I call it, well, we know what it looks like, but it's a microphone. We'll call it a microphone for my speaking. This to me, and on YouTube, people could see it, is more indigo, but sodalite, I believe, was supposed to be for the throat chakra. So there's so much to the colors. There's crystals that you can utilize to heal as well. I'm imagining, I'm just saying that because I'm not trained in that, but if once you identify patterns or places where you might need an oomph, using a crystal might also be beneficial.
Totally. Yeah, that's great. I love that you just explained that, because I think if you go into, a crystal shop or a metaphysical store and you're like, ooh, I want to go over here, like you're drawn to a crystal. What's interesting about it is, that crystal represents an area of healing or support, but the color of the crystal is also ministering to you in some way. And so if you're attracted to that blue, I kind of see it as for the throat and the third eye because of the shades that are in there, then you're ministering to your ability to take in and process your own intuition, and then to be able to communicate it out in a clear and authentic way.
Well, I love this because being the original woo-woo girl, I mean, this is so fascinating. And I love the utilization of color and crystals, and especially to heal ourselves. All right, let's get into how people work with you and talk to us a little bit about spirit portraits, what that is and why people would get that from you.
Yeah. The spirit portrait is kind of like a painting of your soul. It is really what I see when I look at you, and the color that I see for you that ends up on a canvas or paper that is sort of like a visual representation of who you are and where you dwell. I think it's really easy for us to look at ourselves in the mirror sometimes and go, oh, what about this? What about this? But I feel like when you see your radiant spirit out on paper, you kind of go, oh my gosh, I am beautiful. There's something really lovely about being able to look at a piece of art and go, that's me. That's my spirit. And there are messages that come through as I'm creating your painting that are telling me things that I can share with you about. Have you thought about this? Or, this symbol represents this. Or, and so that's a really unique experience that you can get for yourself or gift for someone else, do for a pet or a space or someone even who's passed away. So it's a really, really special kind of, like portrait really of your spirit.
Well, I love that different because it's also like an intuitive reading through a canvas.
Yeah.
So, what a great gift that would be. I mean, if someone gave me that, I'd be like, oh, yes, I love that. It's really very important for our self-worth to, as you said, say, oh, I am beautiful. When you can see yourself portrayed through color, it's not like, oh, well, my thighs are big, or this is wrong, or this is wrong. We're just all color and spirit. And it brings us back to the genesis, to who we really are. The light that we really are is portrayed through the magic of color. And I think that is a very unique gift that you have.
Thank you. And you said it perfectly. I love that. Yeah.
Thank you. It was guided. I really know what I just said.
Gorgeous.
Thank you. I had a question though about when you see colors coming out of them. Is that our aura, or is that something different?
So for me, I feel like the color that I see intuitively is the chakra color. The
Okay.
color that I see around your head is the aura. And to me, they're sort of two different things, but they kind of communicate similar messages. The aura is somewhat new, I would say, within the last couple of years that I experience differently depending on sort of where I am or where somebody's in front of me. So sometimes through a Zoom, I can see your aura today. And sometimes I can't. It kind of depends on, I think I'm still working on opening up that
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah. I mean, I've known about auras for years. I mean, when I was 10 or 12, I had my aura red or something,
Yeah.
and I know there are aura photographers, and I've had that done. Who knows where those landed? But I think it is really interesting because, of course, people vibrate colors or energy. And can you change your aura? Can you change the colors?
Yeah, you can. There have been clients who've come back to do a second I myself have had my aura photographed a couple times and it looked different in both pictures. The first looked like a big clown wig over my head with all these little rainbow colors. And then the second was more purple and indigo. So I do think it can change. And for people who I've done portraits for, their energy will change too, depending on how they've, worked on developing themselves or healing themselves too.
Oh, so amazing. What else do you offer people? Do you do like intuitive one-on-one sessions, or is it all done through art?
It's mostly done through art, but I'm working on releasing a workshop for people about how to help you amplify your inner rainbow through art
Mm.
exercises, journaling, meditations, that sort of thing.
Ooh, that sounds fun. So you
Yeah.
offer a lot of classes. Do you work with individuals, or do you work with individuals only on like spirit portraits?
Mostly on spirit portraits right now. And that honestly is my favorite way to connect with people, is to be able to
Yeah.
sit one-on-one and chat with them and offer them messages, like you said, that come through in color. It's fascinating to
Oh,
me.
what a unique gift that you have been given and chosen to work on and share with people. It's wonderful. Did you create the term spirit portrait?
Actually, my friend Amy created that.
But I mean, it's
I
not like I'd never heard that before. So I assume
Yeah,
it was
I
something unique to you.
it was so interesting because when I first started painting and I was seeing the colors for people, I was like, I don't know why, but for you, I see dark green, light green, and gold. And then, I would do her painting and I would tell her what was coming through. And my friend Amy said, that's kind of like a spirit portrait. You're doing a portrait of her spirit. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Well, your website is beautiful and it has a lot of color and pictures that people could see on there, the kind of things that you do create. What can you do, like a family spirit portrait? That would be so cool.
Yes, I have done a couple of those, and they're so interesting because each person's energy sort of brings a different tone, and to be able to put them into one piece it's just kind of like a beautiful, unique way of looking at your family's energy, your family's vibration. It's fascinating.
Oh, what a great idea for a couple getting married, too.
Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
totally. I
Oh,
love that.
this is so interesting, Heather. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts and talents with the world and then with me and my listeners, because it's just unique. It's very unique to me. Tell us where people can find you. I'll put it all in the show notes, but
Thank you. I'm out on Instagram. You can follow me there at Heather Eck Artist. And I've got a bunch of freebies on my site at heathereck.com/thank you.
oh, cute. Yeah, it's great. I really recommend you just sort of feel uplifted when you go to your website. I think color is so important and I understand how healing it can be. I get that. And
Yeah.
I also think it's really important to take note of the colors that we wear, what's in your closet. And maybe
Hmm.
I'm a big believer in getting rid of things too. And look at the colors that no longer serve you and toss them.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Yeah, you can learn a lot from just taking a look at your laundry and seeing what did you wear the most of lately. Like, it's telling you something, and you can learn how to read what it's saying.
And it is so interesting. And what you are drawn to, like recently, like I
Hmm.
seem to have been drawn to a lot of blue recently when I do a lot of online shopping and put things in carts and don't buy them just because it sort of satisfies that shopping urge.
Totally. Yeah, we go
Crazy.
through
Well,
phases with the colors too.
the way,
You go through a phase too. So if you're
oh yeah.
attracted to blue right now, that's interesting. That's
Yeah.
supporting you
Well,
in some
sort of.
way.
I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
really wearing it, but I am, I
But
guess.
you're calling it in, it's coming
Yeah,
in.
calling it
Mhm.
in. Yeah. All right. Any other words of wisdom you would like to share with my listeners about color? I didn't even look once at my notes because I just was so excited about
Oh,
learning about it. Oh, it's something that you said on your website. We paint our lives with the colors of, or you paint, well, it said paint our lives with the colors of healing, spirituality, and self-improvement. That's
hmm.
how you work with people.
Yeah,
Or that's what you do for people.
for sure. I'm a huge proponent of growing and trying to find ways to better ourselves every day. And I think when you learn kind of what your spirit is communicating to you, then you get information about how you can move forward or how to make your day to day just that little bit better. I
Yes.
think there's love in there.
Oh, well, that's a perfect way to end it. That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your sparkly self with me and my listeners today. I so enjoyed this. I could talk about colors forever, I guess, because colors are sort of like fashion, and I love
Yeah.
fashion. So,
Thank you
ah,
so much.
Heather, what a gift. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And to all my listeners, thank you for tuning in. Think about what colors are you drawn to? And then also think about what you feel in your body intuitively might need healing. And maybe you wear some of the colors that will help heal you, because there's vibration in that when you wear it or eat it. And if I want to be more godly and white, I'll be eating lots of mashed potatoes and rice, I guess, because they're white. I don't know. I always like yellow. I like sunshiny things, and figure out what you like, and then head to Heather's website. And I think getting a spirit portrait for yourself or someone else is just such a cool, unique gift. I'm all about unique gifting. I mean, who needs another candle, right? So, well, candles are good because they ignite your spark with a little flame. So that's good too. But anyway, all right. Thank you all for listening. I hope your spark was ignited. You learned something new. You're inspired. And I thank you for listening and tuning in, and head to my website where you can find out about my online course, How to Ignite Your Spark for Women in Midlife and Beyond. And I'll see you next week. Thanks for shining your light, whatever color that may be today.